The locally produced film, The Thin Black Line, will premiere at the Abingdon Cinema on April 8th. And this morning, we want to welcome David Radford, actor and owner of Premier Productions and Wolf Hill Studios in Abingdon, and actor Nick Koesters to daytime for a preview of their new film. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Doing great. How are you?
The hat. Got to ask you about the hat first of all, because it's kind of the elephant in the room.
Well, it stands out a bit, I think.
Yeah.
The Thin Black Line follows a mortician who is trying to keep a vampire behind a door for one night.
Okay.
In this particular kind of world, there's a lot of traditions for these morticians. They have a secret society that most people are not aware of. My mortician is rank 3. That's why we have 3 stripes on the hat. So he's seen some things. He owns his own funeral home, and now he's encountered a vampire, and he thinks he's got a pretty good handle on the situation. It's not his first,
right?
But it turns out to be a lot more difficult than he thinks.
I don't want to give away the entire film.
Sure.
I really don't. But
sure.
Why do you have a vampire behind the door?
I mean, where else are you going to put him?
Okay, all right. A valid reason, okay.
You don't want him in the room with you.
Right.
You want him behind that door.
Talk to me about the challenges of being in this film, and especially since it's a locally produced film as well.
Yes, we started this as a pandemic project.
Okay.
So we came up with the concept of how do we make something that's entertaining and quality with as few people as possible. And there have been stops and starts, of course, because the pandemic is 2020, and here we are in 2026, and we finally finished it.
Right.
We ran into some issues, and then I asked Nick if he would like to be involved in this, and he kind of kept me on track, and so we finally,
doing this.
yeah, he herded me like a cat.
I was going to say, it's like herding cats.
Yeah, and so we actually got a chance to complete it. The score is by Dave Egger, who is obviously a Grammy-nominated cellist, and it's perfect for this.
Right.
I met him also during the pandemic, working on a thing for B.D. Wong, and it was just like, what a small world that we live in.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And Nick, talk to us about your character. Talk to us about your participation.
I did a lot of producing on this. So David and I worked from the very beginning, just trying to hone the script and find out exactly what we wanted to do with this, making sure everything was tight so we were ready to go. Shot it in about 3 weeks, I want to say, and then took some time off and then came back, did some editing, then did some reshoots on it. I'm involved in a couple different ways. Did some props. I may have some other. There may be a vampire in there involved, but
he's trying to play it cagey a little bit, I think. But he did an excellent job. Whatever he did, let me just say,
we're not going to give it all away.
He did an excellent job at it.
What I think is really interesting about the piece, though, is it is a psychological horror.
Okay.
So there's no bloods and guts and veins in your teeth sort of thing. This is I liken it to Edgar Allan Poe. It's kind of a story that takes place in a very confined environment, and it's very tense and it's psychological, and there's a lot of things going on, and so you're challenging people and you're challenging the way people think.
Right. I started to say you're trying to get into their minds.
Exactly right.
Definitely trying to get to people's minds.
Yeah, and from the clip we showed, you know, the cross on the door. Do you hear the vampire more than you see the vampire?
You will find the door itself at some times seems like it's its own character,
right?
Because it has to do so much, basically heavy lifting, because these guys are very powerful in the middle of the night, especially. So yeah, that was one of the challenges we had, is like how do we tell this story. My wife Camille actually stepped behind the camera for the first time as the cinematographer, so she got to learn that whole new experience, and it's just we just had a blast doing this thing, and I'm very proud of it, and I hope everybody gets a chance to see it.
And we want everybody to come out to the premiere. It's going to be playing for 5 nights there at the Abingdon Cinema.
Well, a whole week actually.
A whole week.
We got a whole week now. So 5 shows.
5 shows
for 7 days.
All right.
So starting on that Thursday.
All right, gentlemen, good luck. It looks amazing, just from the clips I saw. It looks like it'd be a great watch. All right, thank you so much. Folks, The Thin Black Line premieres. It's premiering at the Abingdon Cinema April the 8th, 7 p.m. for 5 shows.